Hey, howdy, welcome to Camp Moon Dog Workshop. Hope you're all doing good today. You know, in our hobby, you can never know enough about everything, so I'm going to talk more about Caswelling. In particular, doing Caswell sealing on like 316 fonts, 319 fonts, CQs, and guys like that that have the built-in fuel pickup tube. First thing you got to remember and be careful about is the fuel pickup tube has these two little holes and they're right close to the bottom of your font. So it's possible to get Caswell in there, not know it, have it set, and basically your font is unable to pass fuel. So we'll talk more about that. Alright, now Caswell is a two-part epoxy that's fuel resistant and is pretty bulletproof. Pardon me. The thing I don't like about Caswell is it comes in those little paint cans, and it's really stinking hard to pour it out of paint cans. So as soon as I get it, what I do, I transfer it to these squirter bottles. It makes life a whole lot easier. Put the label on so I know what I'm doing. Right now I'm using Caswell that has tinting in it. The advantage of this is when I look inside a font with my endoscope after I've treated it, I can get a good clear picture of where the Caswell is or maybe isn't, if I got to go back and add a little more. When you just use the clear Caswell, it's kind of hard to tell, you know. Anyway, so that's that. Now, another thing to make it easier, mixing Caswell correctly is critical. For about a year and a half, what I would do is I'd get these little veterinary syringes that are marked in milliliters, and I'd carefully pour it in and measure and make sure I had enough, and then squirt it into the jar and then add the other part. Way too complicated. It's simple. 2 parts of part A, 1 part of part B. You take your mixing container, put 3 strips of masking tape around and cut it so you can see what you got. So you're using your part A, 2 parts, you fill it up to 2 lines. Part B is 1 part, you fill it up to 1 line. And stir the snot out of it, and there you go. You didn't have to spend all that time and anxiety measuring and trying to be a rocket science. You could just be a regular old guy. Okay, now, once I mix it, and it's critical that you mix it up really good. You're mixing a jar, be sure to put your mixer around the outside of the jar and at the bottom of the jar just to agitate all your Caswell. Then what I'll do, then I get my syringe and I carefully pour Caswell into my syringe. Be careful because you're going to get a little coming out of the end when you do this. Take your syringe, and then you want to do all diligence not to get Caswell in the center of your font and clog your pickup hole. So what I'll do is I'll turn the font this way and shoot the Caswell in, so then it'll puddle down in this part of the font. And I let it set for a minute or two, and then I start to rotate it about at a, I don't know, what is that, 40-degree angle. Give it 1 rotation all the way around. And what that does is it'll seal the bottom of the font to about here and this corner. Then once I give it that rotation, then I'll flip it up on its side like this and slowly rotate it all the way around so the Caswell will be covering the inner walls of the upright walls. Now, Caswell takes about 30 minutes to get to the point where it's not going to flow real good. So your first 30 minutes you want to slowly rotate your font. Like find a TV show you want to watch, sit on the sofa with your font and turn it over. And I like to try to get 2 or 3 rotations in. Then, when I got that done, I'll upend it like this and put it on something to keep it from rocking. Then all the Caswell continues to weep down on the inside of your font. That's how I actually apply the Caswell when I'm doing that. Now, once again, you got to remember, these little air holes, doesn't take a whole lot of Caswell to make them not air holes anymore. So what I'll do, once I've rotated it a couple times, I'll get myself a little piece of plastic pipe, stick it on the end here, and as it sets, about every 5 or 10 minutes I'll blow into this to make sure that if there's any Caswell on there, it blows it out. A couple guys I know said they've hooked up aquarium pumps just to make a consistent air supply. I don't know if that offers enough pressure to blow it out. I don't do it that way, but they say it works, so it probably works. So, now even before you get into all this, if the inside of your font is all nasty, crudted, tarnished up, your Caswell is not going to do as good a job as it could. Pardon me. So I recommend cleaning the inside of the font as the best you can. Some guys could put BB in there and kerosene and, you know, shake the snot out of it for a half an hour. Other guys use other things. What I'll do, I'm not afraid of chemicals. I'll put a little bit of dilute muriatic in there, and I'm talking about 1/3 acid, 2/3 water, and let that sit for about an hour. What that'll do is get the angry rust off the inside of this. This is steel and it can rust on the inside. Then before I drain the muriatic, I'll do the same thing. I'll roll it, and the muriatic will act on any tarnish you have on the internal brass. Then you got to get that out really good. You can put a little soapy water in, flush. You want to neutralize the acid. You can put a little water in, flush it. Some guys will put the cap back on and pump it, and it'll shoot out the top. You can do it that way. Another way is to make yourself a little siphon that reaches in there, and you can siphon out that. And you want to make sure the inside is completely dry. Now, the muriatic acid will probably not attack gooped up fossilized fuel. So the next thing I'll do is I'll fill the font about 1/3 of the way up with acetone. Let me see. I don't have any jars here. Just regular acetone. And that attacks crusty, rusty fuel, any kind of tar buildup or anything like that. And swirl that around so you get the whole inside flushed with the acetone. Do the same, dump out as much as you can. But the acetone is kind of a friend, because the acetone is what you can use to dilute your Caswell to thin it out a little. So if there's a little bit of acetone left in here, that's no big deal. That just works well with your epoxy. Another way to make sure you get it pretty dry is turn on your stove, get it up to about 250 degrees, turn off the gas, and then put the font in there. And acetone evaporates pretty quickly, so once your font gets good and hot, most of the acetone will evaporate. The reason you want to turn off your gas is acetone vapor is flammable. And if you leave your stove on, what can happen is you'll be sitting in your kitchen, it reaches temperature, and all of a sudden you hear this loud noise and your oven door flies open because your acetone vapor ignited. Don't ask me how I know that, okay? Anyway, so once you've derusted, flushed with acetone, dried the acetone, then you can go in and apply your Caswell. And once again, the critical thing is these little holes. You don't want to get them filled up with Caswell. There is a way to fix it, but it's ugly, and I don't like doing it. And I've had to do it for a couple guys that over Caswell their tanks, but it can be cleared. You don't have to throw the tank away. It's a real pain. Now that's specific to tanks that have a central fuel pickup tube like this. If you have a tank that has a pump, an external pump, your pump snorkel comes up on the inside of your tank, and the end of the snorkel will be right about here, and it's only about the thickness of a dollar bill folded over 6 times. There's only just a little bit of clearance, and when you rotate, the Caswell is going to go right to it. If your pump snorkel on an internal pump gets clogged with Caswell, it's a terrible world to live in. I've had to fix that on 2 occasions for guys, and it's ugly. But anyway, so there you go. Save yourself trouble measuring by just making your own little measuring cup. You don't have to. Oh, and if you get the Caswell Tank Sealer kit they send you like a little measuring cup, you know, with milliliters and centimeters and lines and all that. Don't use that. You lose about 1/3 of your Caswell that sticks to the wall, so you can't pour it out. That's why I like to use a little cup like this. I don't get a lot of Caswell stuck on the sides when I'm pouring it out. Alright, well that's it. I hope this is helpful. And all you folks out there, keep a bright light burning. Thanks for stopping by Camp Wounded Dog Workshop. Talk to you later. Bye.